Hello and welcome to the British Firearms channel. Today we're going to have a box opening of the Chiappa Rhino 120DS. That's the long barrel pistol version of the Chiappa Rhino that's available in the UK. I've got to say thank you to Valmont Firearms who've sponsored this episode. They've given me a great deal on this Chiappa Rhino. It's a Christmas present from my girlfriend. Without Valmont Firearms help, don't think it would have been possible this year. I'd have had to look at next year. So let's have a look, let's see. As you can see, it comes in this wonderful ABS case. It's quite a good solid case. Has 4 catches on the front, which to be honest is a bit of overkill for a case of this size. Seems a bit pointless to have 4, you could get away with 2, but it's solid, it's reliable, it's going to be quite secure in there when I'm taking it to the range, so I'm not going to complain too much. Inside we have the standard foam that you normally get on these things, and a couple of items. First of all, this looks like a checklist from the importer over to Valmont Firearms. So they've done a full thorough checklist before it went to Daniel, and I know Daniel himself at Valmont has actually done a check himself before I got the firearm. Here we have a pack of goodies. Looks like there's a few things in here, some stickers, maybe a couple of other tiny tools. I'm not sure what they're all for. First of all, a cleaning brush, which is always handy to have. A tool that seems to in fact, I'm not entirely sure what that does. I'm sure we'll find out at some point what that tool does. It seems to be important, or it won't be in here. We have, I'd say, a couple of stickers. Chiappa Firearms sticker. May go on my safe, may not. I'm not sure if I'm going to put stickers on my safe yet. It looks like we've got 3 moon clips. Which are the sort of like a speed loader, but not quite. They stay in the firearm rather than where a speed loader is removed and the ammunition's left in. These actually hold 2, 3, 4, so yeah, they hold the 6. They go in, they stay in, and they stay in while you're firing the firearm. I'm assuming this is something to do with putting your ammunition in and out of that. Some sort of tool to assist you. I'm not entirely sure. I've not played with the moon clip before, so we'll have a look at them probably in another video. Here we have a manual. Obviously these are the US spec, or sorry, the rest of the world apart from Great Britain spec firearms, because they don't have the extended barrel that we have to have and the crazy coat hanger off the back end. I'll go a bit more into that when I actually open the firearm in a moment. It looks like a standard manual. Tells you where everything is, what ammunition you can use. This is, what's this? What models are available. It doesn't seem to mention the 120 that we actually have here in the UK. Sorry, in Great Britain. I keep saying UK. If I say UK, please accept I'm in Great Britain. Ireland obviously use standard short length barrel firearms. They're not restricted as we are on the mainland. But that doesn't mention the long barrel pistol as we have it here. A couple of pictures, the charging Rhino, 6-inch and so on, some accessories that are available. Looks like a pretty comprehensive manual. I'm going to go through that at some point, obviously before firing the firearm. Oh, here it says B, that little tool that we were talking about at the beginning. This tool here is to adjust the rear sight. So it looks like that's for some way of adjusting the rear sight. I'm assuming it's like a screwdriver to make it go up and down and left and right and so on. How to decock, unload. It's a very comprehensive manual by the looks of it. How to do a cylinder conversion. I'm not sure why you would do a cylinder conversion as such, but it's available should you wish to. Oh, an exploded view, so I'm assuming that means you can put it into a million parts and then not know how to put it back afterwards. Which is normally the case when I take things to pieces. The bag's got Chiappa Firearms on it. I say Chiappa. I know some of the guys in the UK are saying Chiappa. I only say Chiappa because the Italian company Chiappa, when I've seen their videos, they've said Chiappa with a K instead of a Ch. So I'll keep with what they use because that's what they know. And here is the firearm, nicely wrapped up. Let's unravel. And inside it's very well wrapped up. dispose of the bag. So we have a Made with Pride logo. That's going to come off before we use it. A little sticker on the bottom, which I've been warned by Daniel at Valmont Firearms that this is a nightmare. Once you take it off, there's loads of glue and it's horrible to get off. But hey, that's the way things go. We'll clean it off before we use the firearm, I'm sure. This is the crazy regulation in the UK where an overall firearm to be within the law has to be a 30 centimetre barrel or 12 inches, and overall has to be 60 centimetres or 24 inches. So we have this weird coat hanger thing on the back of the grip, which when you're holding the firearm, they usually don't get in the way. They're usually off to one side. It's not normally a problem. The actual balance of this, Dan Valmont actually mentioned it in his video as a first view this morning. The balance is unreal, and to be honest, you see the size of this thing, you think it's going to weigh a ton, but this is really light, ridiculously light, and makes me wonder, is it going to hold together? I'm sure it will. I believe the alloy they've used is a really tough aluminium alloy for the frame. They have a couple of metal bits, one being the striker plate in the back here, and a couple of other bits. I think there's a piece underneath which strengthen it where it needs strengthening more than the alloy of aluminium can cope with. But generally the rest of the frame is aluminium all the way down through the grip, just with those couple of steel inserts. I think, yeah, the cylinder, which has this transport ring on, which has fallen off, that's actually steel, I think. Looks steel. So a couple of things that are steel on a generally otherwise aluminium frame, keeping that weight nice and light. Like I say, the balance is phenomenal. If you hold that out, it really does feel like you've got, this isn't in the way at all. There's a really good balance to the firearm, and I'm pretty sure that firing this, oh, the sight picture is really good. Fibre optic sights here, which is pretty unusual on a firearm, especially in the UK. We seem to get these cheap, like Taurus for example, who do the other main long barrel pistol that we can get in the UK, who I believe don't actually sell the 66 anymore. They don't make it anymore, so the only ones you can get are second hand. But the sights are awful on that, to be honest, and need upgrading aftermarket. So the fact that they've given the 2 green and the 1 red fibre optic on this is quite impressive. Looks here like this is where we adjust the sight picture, the sight height, and so on, with that little tool that we looked at a moment ago. I'm sure this is for the left to right windage, and this is for the elevation up and down. Looks like a fantastic piece of kit. You saw me a minute ago. This is the actuator for opening the cylinder. Pushing on the right hand side opens it up, and there we go with the 6 positions available for 357, 38 357 is what this particular firearm is chambered in. I believe they currently do a 9mm, which Daniel at Valmont has actually got himself. He got the 9mm, I believe. The 44 Magnum isn't available till next year. I think it's March next year that it's available. But to be honest, a 357 is going to be more than good enough for anything I'm going to do. Let's use my Remington knife that I also got off Dan in a competition. Thank you again, Dan. Let's take the little label off, and let's have a closer look at the other side of this firearm. Here we have some nice engraving. Actually, it's quite a simple engraving. It's just the Rhino 120DS 357 Magnum. The serial number at the bottom there, which I'm not going to show you too close because I don't want anybody having a look at that. A couple of stamps here. Looks like they're proof stamps. Yeah, so nitro and black powder approved. Let's cock the firearm. It's definitely empty. We've just taken it out. And let's decock. Now you'll notice, guys, that this here, this actually isn't the hammer. Most people think, oh, the hammer is at the top of the firearm. Because the Chiappa Rhino has the barrel at the bottom of the cylinder rather than the top of the cylinder, like most firearms, the hammer is actually internal. It's about there inside, and the way you actually actuate it is this cocking handle. Now once the cocking handle is down, We have a little pin to tell us we are cocked and ready to fire. The cylinder is in position, and remember the bottom round of ammunition is actually going to be the one that's fired, and then if you pull the trigger you would actually then be taking your shot. Now it has single action, cock it and then the trigger's back, and that's a really light trigger by the looks of it. But we also have double action, which I won't do all the way because I've no snap caps, but as you can see it's going to cock the firearm for me, and then it would fire. So single and double action. That double action does feel it's a little heavy, but not too crazy, to be honest. It's I'm not going to put the meter on it because A, I don't have one, and B, there's no need. It is what it is. There are aftermarket trigger kits available. I believe there's a 2-stage trigger available. I at the minute don't see the point. I'm not going to bother with that until I've actually used this a little bit. We have here and here what look like Picatinny rails. So we could put red dot, I'm assuming a laser sight or some sort of torch. If you were using this in the States as the defensive weapon, a torch would be a good idea, but here we're not allowed to do that. Other than that, there isn't really much more to it. The grip it's a beautiful fit. Some of the other firearms that I've seen in the UK coming new, the grips really don't fit very well, and I know the Taurus had a bit of an issue with that, and some people complained about the fit of aftermarket grips to that as well, because they were just awful to fit for. The manufacturer didn't make them very accurate each time. This looks wonderful. The feel of the grip, that's actually quite a steep angle there. You normally have a more flat pistol grip, but that actually feels really quite comfortable. I'm sure there's going to be some getting used to it, because I've got a GSG 1911, which is more of a sort of downward angle, but that feels wonderful. I'm also aware that your grip has to change, so you can't hold a standard grip like this, because if you do you're going to get some powder burn. So you have to pull your grip back and clench tighter, because again, the barrel being at the bottom, firing out the bottom of the cylinder, you're going to get some gases and expansion gases and flames coming out the side, and you do not want your finger in the way when that happens. So generally a beautiful firearm. First impressions are it's going to be fun to shoot, and I think when I've done some shooting at the range, which sadly I'm not allowed to take you guys in for, my club doesn't allow people to shoot with cameras filming, but I'll do some shooting. I'll get some of my targets and let you have a look at what sort of accuracy this thing gives. One of the main reasons this barrel is at the bottom is so that the recoil comes through your hand and down your arm, rather than as most pistols would come, you know, above your hand and kick up. This is more of a direct line, so you actually get more of a backwards motion. It helps with accuracy. It helps with reacquiring the target more speedily, and let's see how it goes. It's the first one I've seen in the real world in the UK. I don't think they've been here very long. I think this is actually the first batch into the UK that have come in through Remington and Ray Trade, and I believe Dan had 50 of these initially. You can order more, so if you go to valmontfirearms.net, you can go to his website and actually order them. He's got a great price on it at the moment, I think. So here we have the 120DS. Like I say, it's a 12-inch barrel, 24 inches overall to fit UK spec, and with it came 3 moon clips. So they're the middle of 3 ways to load your firearm. One is for those of us who want to go out there and shoot really quickly and reload really quickly. We have a thing called a speed loader. I don't have one to show you. It's fundamentally a big chunk of metal where 6 rounds of ammunition go into there. You have a little turn knob at the top. You push the whole thing into the back there, turn the knob, it drops the 6 in, you take the speed loader away, and your 6 rounds of ammunition are in the cylinder, ready to go. Close up, shoot, everything's good. Eject your 6 and then come back with a new 6 on a new speed loader, and away you go. So it only leaves the ammunition in the firearm, it doesn't leave any part of itself. The other option, the slowest and old school option, is to get 6 rounds of ammunition, pop them into the cylinder. I'm only going to do 3. close the cylinder, away you go, shoot, and when you want to finish, you pull all 6 out. Now when all 6 come out, what you may find is that they go all over the floor. I'm doing this carefully so I don't drop any, because these are still live rounds of ammunition. You may drop one of your cases, you may go all over the floor, they don't stay together very well. What the moon clips do is somewhere between the two. So you actually clip the moon clip onto the ejection groove, as it were, on the round of ammunition, and you put all 6 onto the moon clip. Now you'll find some go in a little stiffer than others because of the tolerance of the brass. There are aftermarket versions of these moon clips. You don't have to buy them from Chiappa. There are others out there. I would avoid them personally, because I feel that with the tolerances that these have being manufactured to the firearm itself, and even then, you know, I'm having a couple that are easy and a couple that are difficult. I think you'll find that these aftermarket ones may have ones that fall out. They may not be as good. They may wear over time. This is going to be, I assume, a better quality piece of steel that they've used for it. And also, this doesn't seem to have any issue with being bent. It seems to go back quite smoothly and quite flat. So what we now do is we put our moon clip into place, drop our 6 rounds of ammunition in, and we leave the moon clip in. Close the cylinder, the moon clips stay in place, and we actually shoot with the moon clip in the firearm. When we've finished, we get rid of all 6 cartridges at once, so the empty cases come out. You put them down and you put your next full moon clip in place. So the concept is that you'd have 3 of these loaded before you go in the range for your detail. Shoot them, come out and put your 3 lots of empties to one side. When you then want to reload these, you could just grab at them and pull, but I think you're going to start twisting things, and that's why this tool is given. So you slide it over your empty case as it would be, you pull out, and you have your ammunition easily pulled away from the moon clip. It does actually slide straight through this, so you don't have to worry about taking it back out the top. All 6 come out quite quickly. To be honest, I'm quite impressed with these. I think they're going to be great. I've never used moon clips before. Didn't even know what they were until I researched the Chiappa and saw they came with 3. So I thought, oh, let's find out what they do. And they look pretty good. There's your 6. Out they go. Put your 6 new ones in, and you're ready to go and shoot. That takes seconds. I don't think there's going to be any issue doing that at the range. You can buy more of these though. So if you want to go out and have 10 of these ready to go, you can buy 10 from Daniel at Valmont Firearms, where I got this Rhino from. He has 10 for the price of £30 at the moment. He has said that once the current stock is gone, you won't be able to get them again until next year. I think it's March, he said, next year. So I would double check with him at valmontfirearms.net, see if he's got any available. If so, you might want to buy them. I personally, I'm not going to use any more. I think if these 3 aren't enough, I'll just load manually. I'll just put them in one at a time. I'm not too fussed about speed.